welcome back to my reading room. Today I'm going to be giving y'all recommendations based on Olivia Rodrigo's songs. I'm going to still be giving you song recommendations from each album, but not every song on each album. As you guys may know, I went to the Guts tour this year, and that was literally one of the best concerts I've ever been to. I made a vlog about it, and if you haven't seen it yet, it'll be linked in the description and you can check it out. That actually is what inspired this video. I always see people kind of connecting songs to books, so let's get into the first album, which will be Sour. The first book and song I'm going to start with. The song is Brutal. The book I have for Brutal is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, because this book literally is the embodiment of brutal. Like, Avery Graham's is literally brutal. I'm so sick of 17. Where's my teenage dream? Like, that is literally just Avery. Avery is a 17-year-old girl who gets thrown into this random world where she gets an inheritance from this random old man. They'd be so disappointed because who am I if not exploited? I'm sorry, but that song, every time I listen to it, she is immediately who I think of. I think of The Boys, I think of her, I think of just the storyline in general, where she literally is just given an inheritance and has to go. The media is just making up stories about her, and I feel like that's a very prominent thing in Brutal. I genuinely think Avery Graham's just is brutal. This song was literally made for her. The next song and book is Traitor. And the book, this hits me in my heart a little bit. I have The Final Offer, which is the third book in the Dreamland Billionaire series. This is about Callahan and Elena. The reason I say Traitor is not really the reason Olivia Rodrigo wrote this song. I feel like it comes in a different perspective for Elena. This book was one of my favorites in the series, and I know a lot of people don't agree, but this book just literally like brought me to tears. I want to kind of dig into Callahan's skin and figure out why and what he's going through, where he's just living in this old town and he's going through old memory with Elena and with everything else in the area and the whole town in general. I feel like Traitor is a very good song for this. You betrayed me, and I know you'll never feel sorry. I kept quiet so I could keep you. I played dumb, but I always knew. When I hear this, those lyrics are just this book. And I feel like it's a lot more heavy topics in this book, and I feel like that is maybe why I feel like Traitor. It's still a romance, so there's some different parts that probably aren't as connected, but I feel like with the deeper topics, I feel like Traitor is definitely Final Offer. The next song on Sour I have is One Step Forward, Three Steps Back. I had multiple books for this song. The book that I chose is Beach Read by Emily Henry. I have Beach Read kind of fresh on my mind. I tabbed and kind of went through and underlined stuff not too long ago. January in her personal life as well is very open, and whenever she's kind of learning about stuff, she learns something, but then another thing hits her and it kind of throws her right back. The song is not as personal life and it's more romance, but I feel like with Beach Read, there is a romance perspective in it, but the kind of growing for January and the growing for Gus is what I would more put this towards. Just never doubted myself so much kind of is very intertwined into a lot of different parts in the book, even if it's for the romance or for the growing or even just in random scenarios where they're like, wow, I really don't understand what's going on. Another quote I have is, do you love me? Do you hate me? Boy, I don't understand, which doesn't even have to go for just Gus. January in general is kind of figuring life out and with people, her parents, her friends, and she's kind of like really doubtful. That quote, I think you can really dive deep into January's kind of just inner feelings with that. The next song I have is Enough for You, and with this book and Enough for You, I feel like it doesn't hit with the lyrics as much, but with the name of the song. The reason I picked this is for the beginning, and it's Wrecked by Lauren Asher. Max and Elena are kind of the embodiment, like, am I enough for you? And I feel like most people won't understand that until they read the book. I can't really explain to you why I feel like Enough for You. The context of the song is why I would choose Wrecked, but I feel like if you read the book, you would understand. Let me know in the comments if you feel that. Like, if you've read Wrecked, let me know if you feel the same way. Read the book and you get into the perspective of Elena or the perspective of Jax. There's a lot of enough for you in that. The lyric I chose for this is, don't you think I loved you too much to be used and discarded? Which I don't want to spoil anything, but I feel like that lyric is a prominent point in this book, because there's a lot that goes on and then you're like, wow, like I don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of plot twist. Direct, it's kind of Jackson and Elena. She is his PR manager, and they're kind of just figuring stuff out. They're learning about each other. They're kind of enemies at first and figuring out how to get him out of what he's going through. And I feel like you see that a lot in this book. Last song for Sour, I had this Hope You're Okay. And the book I have for this is a book that I read so long ago, and I still think about it to this day. The book is 5 Feet Apart by Rachel Lipcott and Mickey Daughtry. I watched this movie probably more times in theaters than a normal person should. After I watched it in theaters 5 times, I could not watch it anymore, and I'm a bit too scared to ruin that for me. But with 5 Feet Apart, the reason I say Hope You're Okay is because I feel like that's just the sense of this book. It's 2 people going through a lot in their lives. They can't see each other, they can't touch, they have to be 5 feet apart. And with that, I feel like Hope You're Okay is very much, I'm hoping you're okay. I'm looking out for you. I'm thinking about you still, even if I don't see you, even if I can't know you anymore. You are who I'm thinking about. And I feel like in 5 Feet Apart, there's just so many topics and even just little quotes that could really resonate with Hope You're Okay. And even though she's telling a story, I feel like this story in general could go with that song. A quote that's really good for this is, "And somehow we fell out of touch. I hope he took his bad deal and made a royal flush." I don't want to explain, but if you've seen the movie and if you've really taken in the book, I feel like you would understand. I really enjoyed the movie and I loved the book just as much, but I feel like that quote really resonates with kind of the more middle to end of the book. "Address the letters to the holes in my butterfly wings. Nothing's forever, nothing's as good as it seems." There's a lot of stuff that she wants and realizes that it's not what she wants. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the book that is very sad, and you're kind of like, wow, maybe that's not as good as it seems. Or even kind of just the life that they live. You don't ever think that it's good, but it also could be worse than it seems, or even better than it seems. And I feel like that might be why I kind of put this book, and when I hear the song, I think of 5 Feet Apart. Moving on to Just Guts, the main album. First song I chose is Bad Idea, Right? Because I feel like we all have a book that we can resonate with. Bad Idea, Right? What I have for Bad Idea, Right is Powerless by Lauren Roberts, because I feel like every single thing in this book is just like, it's a bad idea, right? Because yes, everything they do is a bad idea. Like, what are you doing? It's very good for beginner fantasy. So if you haven't really read a lot of fantasy, because I don't read a lot of fantasy, I feel like this was really good for me to step into. The main point of the song, like "Seeing You Tonight, It's a Bad Idea, Right?" I feel like really resonates with just Peyton in general. I feel like everything she does is kind of a bad idea. Some of the good things she does also turn into a bad idea. And I feel like that's why I kind of resonate this song to the book. With the lyric, "Now I'm getting in my car, wrecking all my plans. I know I should stop, but I can't." I feel like obviously not the car part, but wrecking all my plans. I know I should stop, but I can't. Like, she knows what she's doing is not the smartest. And she's like, well, her whole life is a bad idea. Like, she lives in this place where she's not supposed to live, and she's kind of going through life and then ends up somewhere that she's not supposed to be, and it's a bad idea to keep going with it. And then she's in this thing. I don't want to like spoil the book. I feel like going into this one pretty blind is very nice, but going into it blind with some of those lyrics, I feel like will be very fun. The next song is Lacey, and I feel like there are so many books that could resonate with Lacey, but I chose one that I read a good while ago, and I kind of just always resonated this song when I first heard it to this book in general. I picked To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han, because while Laura Jean had so many Lacey's, she was also a Lacey to a lot of people in this book as well, or the sweetest thing from this side. And I feel like with that, she feels of other people that way, but a lot of other people feel of her that way, where she's kind of just this cute little romance girly who's looking for love while everybody else is getting love, where they're kind of jealous of her in that aspect of she kind of just is the romance. She kind of just loves that kind of stuff and has things happen to her where it's kind of like, wow, I would be jealous of that. But she doesn't really feel that way, so she's kind of jealous of the other Lacey's in her life. Anyone can really be a Lacey. If you could be a Lacey to somebody, somebody could be a Lacey to you, and you would never know. And I feel like that's very here. I feel like Laura Jean doesn't realize how many people she kind of inspires, and people don't really realize that Laura Jean is kind of inspired by them. I feel your compliments like bullets on skin I feel like Laura Jean was complimenting so many people, and some of those people could not take those compliments, but in the same way, other people were complimenting Laura Jean, and she was like, wow, like I don't feel that way, so why are you complimenting me like that? Or whenever she kind of gets into the more romancy side, there's some things that people say, and she's like, wow, like why does it feel this way? And why do I feel that way about this? And I feel like that is a very Lacey-esque area in this book. The next song is Ballad of a Homeschool Girl. I feel like I have a million books that I could choose for this one, but for this one I chose Better Than the Movies because Liz is just the inevitable of a silly, she's there, but everything's going on around her and she's just like, there's kind of social interactions that happen in the book where she's kind of just like not in it, and I feel like she could definitely be seen as socially awkward. I guess that's kind of what I take from it. If she was singing this song, it would make so much sense. You know what I mean? Like her saying these words, I would be like, yeah, girl. Secrets I shouldn't tell. Stumbled all over my words. I made it weird, I made it worse. Like I feel like when I hear those lyrics, I just see Better Than the Movies. Because it doesn't even have to be just her. I feel like Wes is also, like as much as he's like a cool guy, he also could be seen as socially awkward. But maybe it's just because they're teenagers, and I feel like any type of teenager could really be seen as socially awkward. The vibes of this book really do just give off Ballad of a Homeschool Girl. The next song is Making the Bed, and for that I have Happy Place by Emily Henry because Harriet is going through it. And I feel like when Olivia wrote this song, she was also kind of feeling a lot of feelings, and Harriet in this book is always feeling feelings. There's so much stuff she's going through at this time, even if it's not just a romance, it's her life, just anything. She's very much learning and growing and just trying to get through what she has to do. There's so many lyrics in Making the Bed that you can really just take and be like, yeah, like that makes so much sense. Sometimes I don't want to be where I am. Being where you are, but not really being able to get out of where you are. Pushing away the people who know me the best, I feel like you really need to read the book for that. I can't really explain to you why I feel that lyric fits with this book, but I just feel like it does. And I'm always playing the victim in my head. I feel like that could go for multiple people in this book. And I feel like that lyric kind of resonates with the friend group. I feel like there's always that little piece in everybody's mind of playing the victim in the scenarios, and I feel like you could really see that throughout the book. The next song I have is Get Him Back because I feel like a lot of second chance romances really resonate with Get Him Back because I feel like there's a lot of jealousy and kind of pinning that goes into that. This book that I chose is actually kind of fresh on my mind because I just read it and it hasn't even been in a wrap-up yet, but I have The Rulebook by Sarah Adams because it's a second chance romance where she becomes his agent and has to work for him, but they dated. So you're kind of seeing the jealousy, the pinning, the learning in this, and I feel like there's a lot of like jealousy remarks in Get Him Back that could very much go with the rule book. There's, I want to make him really jealous, I want to make him feel bad, because then again I really miss him and it makes me real sad. Lyrics are very conflicting because they don't really mean the same thing. Like she's saying I want to get him back, but I also want to get him back. Very seeable in this book. The song is Teenage Dream, and I chose the fourth book in the Goldrush Ranch called A False Star because Nadia is just the embodiment of Teenage Dream. Like it doesn't even have to be the story. She as a character is kind of just Teenage Dream to me. In general, when you meet her in the third book, you kind of see that. You see like, wow, she really is just the teenage dream. She's the crazy teenager who doesn't really know what she's doing, where everybody's kind of just doubting her or even just saying these things about her, but she's kind of a wild child. And when she gets into this book and kind of starts growing and learning, you see people still feel that way. Sorry that I couldn't always be your teenage dream is very prominent in just Nadia's kind of life story in general, and I feel like that really shows. I'll blow out the candles, happy birthday to me. I feel like Nadia was very to herself, and she grew up kind of having to defend herself and kind of learn as her. And I feel like I'll blow out the candles, happy birthday to me is kind of her setting her own candles and her blowing out her own candles with nobody else kind of there. Similar to making the bed. I feel like this is another one for making the bed. It's kind of just there for herself and always has to be and always will have to be, even after not being able to be their teenage dream. And will it stop being cool to be quietly misunderstood is very Griffin and Nadia. I feel like they're both very misunderstood characters from any character in the series, where they're both kind of having to make up for lost time and make up for this, make up for that. And even with other friend groups, like with Billy and with Violet, like there's a lot of misunderstanding going on. And even with Stefan and Nadia, where they're related, there's a lot of misunderstanding that neither of them really talk about. Teenage Dream is just very Nadia. And there's also lyrics that can go with Griffin, so it feels like just a false start. That was the last song for Guts, and now we're moving on to Guts Spilled. There's some songs on Guts Spilled, even though it's not a technical album, it's like a deluxe. I feel like there's some songs that really do fit, and Guts Spilled is the reason that I've kind of came up with this video idea for myself, and I want to have that book in here. The first song on Guts Spilled, it is Girl I've Always Been, and I have 2 books for this, and they are the girls they've always been. I have Off to the Races and Heartless by Elsie Silver, because the 2 main girls in these 2 books are the girls. They are the it girls. They are the same but different. Billy is literally my favorite character of any book I've literally ever read. I don't know why, I don't know how, but she is just the it girl. She's who I want to be. She's my Lacey. I think about her so much, even though she's literally written on paper. She's a paper person, and I think about her daily. Billy is just the girl she's always been. She really is just the embodiment of like that girl. She's an it girl. Same with Willa. Willa is also just they are both just girls they've always been. They're not gonna change for no man. I don't even know what to say. Like they are just them. And that let me find a quote or something. So don't say I've been acting different, I'm nothing if not consistent is very prominent in both books. I feel like they're both very consistent with their personalities, and they don't change it for other people. They're very them. And if you're not you, like who are you gonna be? They're not changing their personalities around different people. They talk a lot, they're talkative. Like Billy is like 10 times more crazy than Willa, but Willa is also very I'm me. The next song I have is Scared of My Guitar. Where Scared of My Guitar is talking about her guitar, I feel like you could definitely resonate that song with people. And I was watching this TikTok, and I'll see if I can find it, but it was a slide, and it was like, I'm my guitar slide, so I lay in your arms and pretend that it's love. The Summer I Turned Pretty, but the second, not the first one. It's Not Summer Without You and We'll Always Have Summer is this song. And if you haven't read the books or watched the show, don't listen to this because I feel like it could be a spoiler. But Belly loves Jeremiah, but could never love him the way she loves Conrad. Because yes, sue me, I am Team Conrad. 2 books just kind of go with that. And let me get you some lyrics. I'm say that I'm fine, I tell you all the time. There's this one scene in, I can't remember if it's in the books, but I know it's in the show, where they're sitting in the car. Jeremiah is like, oh, Belly, are you cold? And Belly's like, no, I'm fine. And then Conrad immediately hands her a jacket. If you played that scene and then had the song, are they really about to start mowing? No, I'm sorry if y'all can hear the mowing. Just Conrad is very, knows me too well, so I've got no excuse. Jeremiah would be, I can't lie to it the same way that I lie to you. And I feel like the scene that I just talked about is very bad. I feel like she's telling Jeremiah stuff and he just takes it, where Conrad kind of dissects it. And he's like, okay. Where Jeremiah was just like, oh, okay, she's not cold, even though she's shivering. Those lyrics, yes, that is it, you know? The next song I have is Stranger, and the book I chose for that is Places We've Never Been by Casey West, because in the beginning of this book, they are childhood friends, and you're kind of learning that history throughout the book, but you are seeing when they aren't friends anymore, and she kind of feels as he's a stranger now, and the lyrics, you're a stranger I know everything about. Trying to figure out why they aren't friends anymore, and she's trying to become friends again while they go on this road trip that they didn't know was happening. They're going on this one last family road trip that no one knows why, and you're kind of seeing why it's happening, what's going on. They are pretty much strangers now, but she knows a lot about him that she still remembers. You see in some of the parts, like, he knows her too. And you're kind of just trying to figure out, like, why they're going on this trip, what's going on between them, how did their friendship kind of end? And it's very second chance. They're growing up, they're young. I personally just really wanted to know what was going on. And we finally have the last song and last book from Gut Spilled, which is So American. And I read Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy and immediately was like, yes, So American. Because Girl Abroad is Abby Bly going abroad. And she's in a love triangle with these two guys. One's Australian, one's British, one's her roommate, one's just this random guy that she meets. And you kind of get that So American vibe. Like, calls me so American, he laughs at all my jokes, go anywhere he goes. Even though it's kind of drama and love-filled, I feel like the mystery as well can kind of go So American. I feel like she's learning about other types of history, and you kind of see her grow into who she's gonna become. I feel like that's a lot of, I say that a lot, they're growing. I feel like any book you're gonna have somebody learning and growing. The book, there's some stuff that I obviously would change where I'm like, wow, I really wouldn't want that here, but it was a lot of fun, and I feel like So American can definitely be a repeat while you read this book because it's just so, it makes so much sense. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really enjoyed filming this. If y'all want a part 2 with either more Olivia Rodrigo songs, or if you want more just content like this where I give you recommendations, let me know in the comments below. I really hope you enjoyed. I love making these kind of videos. I want to keep doing vlogs. I want to do more recommendations. So anything, let me know in the comments. If you think I should do Conan Gray, because I love my king and he has a new album out, and I would love to give y'all recommendations about Conan Gray songs. So thank you guys so much for coming to my library. Bye. See you later.